the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Rachel Zegler was once Disney's rising star, a breakout actress with a Golden Globe and a future as the next iconic princess. But in 2025, her dream role as Snow White turned into a public nightmare. The movie didn't just flop, it collapsed in spectacular fashion. Empty theaters, box office disasters, global bans, and fan outrage. And in the center of it all, Rachel. From awkward interviews and viral backlash to co-star drama and Disney's silent retreat, what happened to the once celebrated face of the studio's most ambitious remake? This is the full story of how Rachel Zegler completely lost control of her fairy tale. It started with promise. Rachel Zegler had impressed Hollywood in West Side Story, earning accolades and praise from legends like Steven Spielberg.
I just kept looking and looking and looking, and she was the bar that no one reached. No one could reach as high as Rachel reached that first day.
Her next big move, becoming Disney's live-action Snow White, a bold choice, a Latina actress in one of Disney's most classic, traditionally white roles.
I had no idea what I was auditioning for when I auditioned. And then Dopey's gonna look at you and whistle, and I took a pause and realized what I was auditioning for, and then it became like, I will elbow everyone out of the way.
But controversy started almost immediately. In interviews, Rachel called the 1937 Snow White weird, mocked the original love story, and said her version wouldn't dream of true love. She'd be a leader instead. What was meant to be empowering came off, to many, as dismissive. And when fans pushed back, Rachel doubled down. That defiance turned out to be a bad bet. Clips of her calling Prince Charming a stalker and the original story outdated went viral.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
People weren't just criticizing the film, they were turning on her personally. And when the movie finally hit theaters, the numbers were brutal. Snow White opened with just $43 million at the US box office, a crushing failure for a film that reportedly cost over $270 million to produce and market. Entire theaters sat empty. Fans posted videos of vacant rows, TikToks went viral showing deserted showtimes, and memes flooded the internet. Compared to The Little Mermaid's $95 million opening, despite facing its own controversy, Snow White looked doomed. In fact, even Dumbo outperformed it, and just weeks later, Minecraft, of all films, overtook it at the box office. Rachel herself was caught in the storm. One now infamous moment showed her arriving at a screening, smiling and holding flowers, only to be surrounded by silence. The internet called it Snow White and the 7 empty seats. But the numbers were just the start. The real damage came from what the failure symbolized. People weren't just rejecting the movie, they were rejecting Rachel. Old interview clips resurfaced like clockwork. Her statement that people would line up to see her movies aged horribly. Her defiance, once praised as confidence, was now seen as arrogance. Rachel posted an emotional live stream defending herself, insisting that despite the hate, she still had supporters.
The winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her.
But instead of sympathy, it sparked more mockery. Critics called her tone-deaf, memes ran wild, and hashtags like #snowflop and #notmysnowwhite trended across platforms. Parents said they wouldn't take their kids. Grandparents posted how much the original meant to them, and how Rachel's attitude made them want to skip the remake entirely. Even her co-stars began distancing themselves. Gal Gadot, who played the evil queen, gave cold interviews and refused to comment on Rachel directly. When asked about their dynamic, Gal responded, "I'll talk about it when I feel comfortable." A loaded silence. Rachel's other co-star, Andrew Burnap, skipped the premiere entirely, and insiders hinted that Disney was deliberately minimizing her media presence. According to reports, Disney was in full-blown panic mode behind the scenes. Executives were blindsided by Rachel's unfiltered press tour. At one point, she ended a D23 promo event with a political jab, leaving producers scrambling to contain the damage. Things got worse when Jonah Platt, the son of Snow White's producer, publicly criticized Rachel, saying her politics had hurt the film's success. He even claimed his father had to fly out to personally confront her about the damage being done. Rachel's public posts didn't help. She clapped back at critics, mocked people offended by her casting, and fired off lines like, "Yes, I'm Snow White. No, I'm not bleaching my skin for the role." After political tensions rose between her and Gal Gadot, who served in the Israeli military,
That my name is Gal, and I'm Jewish. And we have had enough of Jew hatred.
Disney was reportedly forced to add extra security for Gal after Rachel's pro-Palestine posts led to backlash and threats. Even their Oscars appearance together was icy. The two stood awkwardly apart, avoided eye contact, and didn't pose together, a clear sign something was off. When Rachel posted about the cast days later, Gal wasn't mentioned. Fans noticed. Then came the final straw. Rachel's rumored involvement in Tangled and Pirates of the Caribbean was reportedly pulled. Studios were backing away. Hollywood, it seemed, was ghosting her. Disney's PR team brought in a social media manager to control Rachel's posts, a desperate move to stop the bleeding, but it was too late. Damage was done. Industry insiders began quietly pulling her from upcoming projects. A planned horror trilogy? Gone. A potential Toy Story role? Cut. What began as an opportunity to lead a legacy franchise had morphed into one of the most visible career meltdowns in recent memory, not because of one movie, but because of how she handled it. In a final attempt to reclaim her image, Rachel posted that Snow White was life-changing. But by then, even fans had grown silent. No retweets, no big celebrity support, nothing but the sound of a Disney fairy tale crashing and burning. Her image, once bright with promise, had become a cautionary tale about ego, about media training, about how quickly Hollywood can turn. Rachel Zegler's story isn't just about a failed movie. It's about what happens when public opinion, media scrutiny, and corporate pressure collide, and the star at the center refuses to budge. She wasn't the villain of the story, but she became the face of it. Snow White may have flopped, but the fallout hit much deeper. It shattered a rising star's momentum, damaged Disney's live-action strategy, and reminded Hollywood that even the most expensive projects can't survive without audience trust. Can Rachel recover? Maybe. Hollywood loves a comeback, but it will take humility, time, and more than a carefully managed PR tour. Until then, she'll remain a symbol, not of magic or modern fairy tales, but of how fast the internet can flip the script. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more celebrity fallout breakdowns.